and thank you everyone for being here. Special thanks to our esteemed speakers for sparing their time to be with us and share your experience and expertise with all of us here. So, as you know, at IIT Delhi, we have technologies across sectors. We have startups across technology sectors. So, our panelists here are a group of industry stalwarts from different industries who will be sharing with us their experiences, their expertise around their innovation journeys. What clicks and what does not? How do they think about their product pipelines? What are their IP strategies? How do they navigate the whole technology landscapes, the regulatory compliances, etc.? To initiate the proceedings, I would ask Dr. Arabinda Mitra to set the context for this session. Dr. Mitra is currently an advisor at FITT. He has over 35 years of extensive experience, having worked with prestigious institutions, including the Cambridge University, Delhi University, Department of Science and Technology, Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor, and the Startup Incubation and Innovation Center at IIT Kanpur. He serves as the Honorary Distinguished Fellow in the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, helping science and technology capacity building across government ministries and departments. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Namrata, and a very good afternoon to all of you. Since this is not a panel discussion, I thought, I could speak from the podium. And as far as the public speaking is concerned, you feel, you have to stand up to speak so that the audience can see you. You have to speak loud so that the audience can hear you. And you have to be short and sweet so that the audience claps at the end of the intervention. So, but I think amongst the distinguished people here who would be following me, I am perhaps the guy who's been more involved in research innovation across the government sector and in academia. So my interventions would be largely to talk about the journey of innovation to impact as far as academic institutions like IITs are concerned. So what exactly these institutions should do in order to meet the current challenges and demands. So that's what I will touch upon, and then I'll expect that other panelists will also speak as to how they can contribute in the process working with the ecosystem. I always felt that innovation and entrepreneurship and this journey cannot be detached with the current conditions, the challenges that countries across the globe have to face. Particularly, we started with the pandemic. Now, of course, there are issues related to geopolitical tensions, to trade wars, the vagaries of climate change, and breakdown of supply chain. So these are some of the very important factors that have to be kept in mind in order to drive the innovation ecospace in our country, particularly so in an academic institutions. So all these challenges, I feel, therefore, provide an altogether new opportunities. The way we work, the way we think, the way we actually execute programs, there has to be a shift in all the academic institutions and R&D institutions of the country in order to meet these emerging challenges. And very rightly so, I think all of you have followed the Honorable Prime Minister speaking from the ramparts of the Red Fort. He clearly said that technology is going to be one of the important cornerstones to make India samrit, or to make India developed by 2047. And this is really a shift, a focus shift that has happened in the entire ecosystem to look at science, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, to provide the socio-economic development of the country along with the aspect of sustainability, which is becoming more and more important. So in this context, what I basically wanted to highlight today, can we continue the way we have been doing so far, the way we have been following the culture of innovation in academic institutions? The answer to it is no. The answer to it is that we have to now do a big shift in the way we support research and innovation in the country. And what is that shift, basically? So I think that a new paradigm of innovation-led techno-entrepreneurship has to be developed. Therefore, I feel the call for Jai Vigyan, which is basically knowledge creation, and Jai Anusandhan, which is the knowledge application, has to go hand in hand. And this is where we need to work and bridge this gap, which is there still in our academic institution. Today, clearly, I feel that the country expects the adoption of scientific and technological interventions across the value chain, including startups, private sector, public sector, and entities to unlock the potential and create a demand and supply model for the country. And this is inevitable if India has to grow at the rate of 8% annually, so as to reach the pedestal of a super economic power or a developed country by 2047. So in this context, I would say the aspirations and expectations which a common man, the people and the polity, which they expect from our academic institutions, from our researchers, from our scientists, is altogether now changed. And COVID has shown us how we came together in a crisis situation, and all of us put our effort through simple process of two things that are very important. One is partnership. We cannot do our science, technology, research in isolation and in vertical silos. We need to partner. We need to connect. We need to connect to the people. So partnership and people are the two things. How can science and technology make the ease of living? How can science and technology contribute to economic growth and make a clear impact? So that should become a central driving force as far as research and innovation ecosystem in an academic institution such as IITs are now embarking upon. Today, a student comes to a campus not simply to take a paper degree. They want to do something. They want to contribute back. They want to actually provide solution to the problems that the country is facing. And this has to be brought into center stage or the DNA of our educational ecosystem. If India has to emerge as the world's largest economy in the foreseeable future, I think we have to seamlessly connect three things which academic institutions are doing. One is what is called knowledge creation, which is research. Second, which is knowledge dissemination, which is education, which is of course a primary role. And third is knowledge application or innovation. This needs to be seamlessly connected together. Now, what I mean to say that knowledge has to move beyond publishing papers, which is general mindset in all academic institutions, be it IIT or whatever it may be in the country. So it must travel to touch the lives of people and evolve into solutions. That is very, very critical. Think of it, as I say, as a journey, right? A problem becomes a project. The project leads to a paper, and the paper perhaps leads to some patent. But should we stop there? The answer is a big no. The patent must become a prototype. The prototype, through hand-holding, through iterations, should become a product, and the product should touch the lives of public. That is the complete cycle which any academic or research institution in the country has to look forward to. If you are able to do that, you become a self-reliant country in providing technological solutions that are affordable, accessible, and available across the board. So, basically, it not only generates profit through the process, but also fulfills a purpose. So your research should fulfill a purpose at the end of the day. Your innovation should fulfill a purpose at the end of the day. This circle of problem to project to paper to patent, and then onwards to prototype to a product to public good, is what needs to be institutionalized in all our academic institutions. So that is the clarion call, that is the path that India has to take forward. So I think in this whole process, partnership becomes very important. Our research labs, as I said, needs to interact more with the startup enterprises, with the private sector, with the public sector in equal measures, and not confine themselves within the four walls of the laboratory or the boundaries of an academic institution. So that is very, very important. Our academic institution should be completely open. It should be an open window or an open door. So one thing is very, very important. The role of Indian industry and other industries who are present in India, they have to also, look at this, the whole, the ecosystem of research and innovation as a profit enterprise, as a central to the business charter, which is not happening, unfortunately, in the Indian industries, I must confess. Today, business strategy and business management have to imbibe this as a critical factor for its survival and competitiveness, and therefore, the Indian industry has also to rapidly change the needs and demands, to the rapidly changing needs and demands, but domestically and internationally, it has to look into research and innovation more closely. So, in other words, while the government continues we need adequate wealth to create new knowledge, it is also important to convert that new knowledge into wealth. So this is a very important paradigm. The know-how that we are creating should ultimately become a show-how. And this connection from know-how to show-how can only happen through a partnership model, as I said, by incubating startups, by working with industries, by working with public sector, and this should happen at a subnational, national, and international level. My last point, which is very clear, I want to basically emphasize on the fact that there is a difference, what I call the business, in the business of doing science and doing science for business, right? The business of doing science and doing business with science, right? These are the two things that needs to be seamlessly connected in our academic ecosystem. And for that, of course, we need a different culture within our professors and our faculty to be imbibed. They do need upskilling. And it's critical, therefore, this skilling process actually hones them to understand the investments that the government is doing or otherwise needs to have some products that helps in the public good. So I think, the three things which are very important for us to look into in the future is drive into research excellence, especially in frontier areas like quantum, semiconductor, and so on and so forth. Second, enable collaborations aimed for technology development and transfer. And third, support the growth of business innovation in a seamless PPP mode. So that is the mantra ahead, I think. Therefore, we have to develop leaderships that support this. How do we do team building? How do we do design thinking? How do we solve problems? So these are some of the aspects which academia needs to get into in a big way to change this culture that we are currently following in the country to make really innovations happen that impact the last mile of the country. So I think this is what I really need to emphasize. I always say that the fear of the unknown is still, is the defining challenge for mankind. And we all need to think outside the box. We do through partnership at all levels so that we can assure profitable and timely access of fruits of science, technology, and innovation to the polity and people of India. So with that, I'll end here. I think this is what I wanted to give a message to most of our friends in the academia here, and I would love to hear forward from the other panelists who have experts in their own area, in the private ecosystem, how really they can contribute in the whole process. India has now become a leader in GCC. How do we integrate that? We have launched a 1 lakh crore fund to support research and investment in industry, and that calls for setting up, having close cooperation with academia. Can we set up industrial incubators within the IIT ecosystem? And how do we really support deep tech startup? That is where India is moving forward to. So it will be good to hear their perspectives. Thank you very much for your patience and listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mitra. You very clearly put across the points that we need a whole mindset shift if we actually want to take our ideas to impact. And to move further, I'll request each of our panelists to talk about their particular experiences. So first of all, I'll ask Mr. Manoj Gurbani, CTO and Head of Strategy at Nokia India. He is a business technology leader with entrepreneurial mindset. Nearly 30 years in MNCs like Nokia, Ericsson, Hughes, Siemens, Reliance, Coriance, and RFS, with various techno-commercial roles in technology, product management, large P&Ls, sales solutions, and account management. Currently CTO and head strategy India for Nokia India. He's looking after technology, strategy, and future vision narratives for Nokia across various technology portfolios. So, you can,
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Let me start with a very simple opinion poll. How many of you have owned a Nokia phone ever in your lifetime? Yeah, that's a great show of hands. How many of you own the Nokia phone now? What went wrong? Oh, even I don't own one. What do you think went wrong? There were three things which went wrong, and I'm sure it's a case study. First of all, as the company, we were completely caught unawares that a thing like touch screen will ever function, right? So completely cut off from the market. Apple came, and subsequently the Android phones came. They swept away the market. That was the first thing which happened. The second thing which happened was that we were busy creating one of the best phones possible. We forgot about a thing called ecosystem, right? So we were creating the best device in the world, and we forgot about the fact that the world is moving towards the app economy. There was cloud happening, right? The world was moving into the platform economy world. That was the second reason of failure. So what I'm trying to suggest here is that whenever an idea comes, and for it to be successful, it's very important to ensure that the ecosystem is right. You are part of the ecosystem. If the ecosystem is right, the idea will work. And when I say ecosystem, it has to be the whole lot, starting right from the right policies, right devices, right network, right technologies, very importantly, right use cases, applications. That's very, very important. So I think my first key message here would really be that it's the ecosystem which we are creating. And that's something I think we learned our lessons in a very sincere way. And today, when we talk about the future technologies like 6G, whenever we are talking about the next generation technologies, it starts from creating the use case first and the impact it will be having. And then the technology follows, followed by the standards, the IP, the productization, and then the commercialization. All that actually is a long drawn process, but the creation of ecosystem is therefore so much important. And for the potential startups, I think that's the first thing which I'd like to, as a key takeaway, would be that it's the ecosystem which is very, very relevant and very important in today's world. So that's number one. The second message, when we talk about is something which I already mentioned, is the use case. And this use case need not be a commercial use case. It could be a societal use case also. Because if you see the word innovation, there are two I's. The first I is an idea, but the second I is actually impact. So you have to keep in mind both the I's in the word innovation are crucial. The idea should lead to an impact. That's very, very relevant, right? So I think these were my opening remarks.
Thank you so much, sir. You very clearly pointed out that it is the ecosystem which is very important. We may have the best idea in the world, but if there is no ecosystem to adopt that idea, it really will not help. So thank you so much for your message here. So next, I'd like to call upon Mr. Rajeev Mathur, the Senior Vice President and Head Global Regulatory and Business Continuity at Sun Pharmaceuticals Industries Limited. Mr. Mathur leads the regulatory operations for global markets, focusing on active pharmaceutical ingredients and dosage forms, and also manages the global pharmacovigilance team. He is the site head for the Sun Gurgaon R&D Center in India. With a postgraduate degree in pharmaceuticals, he has extensive experience in dosage form development and regulatory management. He believes in being a business enabler with focus on documentation and compliance, and he's worked with key global regulators, including the FDA, EMA, and CDSCO, aiming to achieve regulatory excellence and build trusted partnerships. So,
Good evening, everyone. Um, and in continuation with the discussion that is there for today, I think most of you are familiar with Sun Pharma. We are India's #1 pharmaceutical company, and we are, amongst the top 5 global specialty pharmaceutical organizations. We have our global presence in more than 100 organizations today. The organization, in fact, was established. I mean, we are about 40 years young, and in 40 years, we are where we are. So, some of the very important messages, and very important learning from the pharmaceutical industry. When we talk about innovation in pharmaceuticals, typically we talk about new drugs, new discoveries. New discovery of a drug, basically, it requires something like 8 to 10 years and huge investments, to the tune that not even some of the Indian companies today are thinking of getting into new drug discovery, because it is very expensive. Also, the chances of success are extremely low. Most of the times, companies work on 100, 200 leads and end up into maybe one or two molecules, which end up into something like a clinical trial and come out successful from the trial, and it requires huge investments. So, what is the right path for innovation in a pharmaceutical industry? Innovation, besides looking at new drugs, is also an innovation in practices, is also an innovation in, other enablers. I'll give you a simple example of, some of the things that have worked for Sun Pharma. So we all know that there are anti-cancer molecules which are prescribed, and most of them are prescribed or available in the form of what we call lyophilized powders. So if you would have seen vials of many other products which are required to be constituted, and then they need to be diluted before they are administered to the patient. So what we did was we prepared pre-concentrated dilutions in bags, ready to use bags. So what happened was that we provided patient convenience and we provided safety to the basically the caregiver staff, because nobody needed to dilute those injections and administer. So if you call it innovation, of course it is an innovation that has been done, even though it was not an innovation of the kind of cost and timelines that we talk about in terms of bringing a new molecule to the forefield. And pharmaceutical sector, as we all know, is very, very highly regulated. So, there was also a mention that how can regulatory and intellectual property play a key role. So regulatory procedures do, act as enablers in terms of early engagement with different regulators, in making sure that some of these practices or some of these projects that we come forward with actually, see the light of the day, because nothing that we do can see the light of the day unless and until it has gone through the regulatory scrutiny of the agencies like CDSCO in India, or you talk about MHRA UK, you talk about FDA USA, some of these most significant regulatory agencies. In context of what we are doing today or what we are seeing today, I think there is, and Dr. Mitra spoke about the partnership with the industry. That's actually very important, and it's completely a two-way requirement. So I think if the academia tries and understands what are the unmet needs of the industry, many times they are not on display. Many times the research which is going on in institutes is probably slightly distant from what the industry actually needs. So I think a closer collaboration is always welcome and will always be very useful. He also spoke about out-of-the-box thinking. So I learned a very important and a very simple message from somebody who was talking about what out-of-the-box thinking means. Out-of-the-box thinking can also be looking at what other industries are doing and what has worked in other industry and how it can be applicable to your own. So, we had a API. API stands for active pharmaceutical ingredient, which was extremely unstable. And we did not know how to stabilize it to the extent that it could be given a shelf life of 3 months or even 6 months. So, we looked at how things are being managed in other sectors. So if you look at Taj Mahal tea, it comes in a vacuum bag. I'm talking about things which are probably 20 years back, which happened. So, we checked how our own API was being packed. We were told that it is, packed under vacuum, but we replace everything with nitrogen. So a simple thing like, completely removing the air, the way the Taj Mahal tea is packed, resolved the issue, and we could, assign a shelf life of something like 3 months or 6 months to the API, a highly unstable active that we had. So there are numerous opportunities. Pharmaceutical industry is one which, depends upon technology so much in terms of, characterization, in terms of techniques to reduce the particle size, to preserve the drug. So there are numerous opportunities of collaboration and working together in the pharma industry. Last but not the least, I'll leave you with some statistics. The pharmaceutical industry globally is something like 1.7 trillion US dollars, and it's growing because whatever happens, recessions, tariffs, whatever happens, this is one area, unfortunately, which will require, because as our populations are aging, we are getting into more metabolic diseases. So the industry, the pharmaceutical sector is growing by a CAGR of something like 6 to 7%. US, of course, is a major contributor to this 1.7 trillion. It's like $650 billion industry, the pharma industry. We are about 10% of that. So the growth opportunities are tremendous. The innovation opportunities are tremendous in this field. Thank you for your attention, and thanks to IIT for inviting me for this discussion today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So you've talked about the innovation journey in the pharma industry, an industry which is highly regulated, very long gestation periods, but still has so much growth opportunities. So we would really, really look forward to collaborating with you in the future. I now call upon Mr. Lalit Sharma, Head of Emerging Technologies and Innovation at Yamaha Motor Solutions India Private Limited. He spearheads efforts in digital transformation and AI/ML initiatives with a deep understanding of various advanced technologies such as blockchain, IoT, connected vehicles, AR, VR, and Industry 4.0. Mr. Sharma collaborates with technology partners and startups to drive innovative solutions. His expertise in evaluating and enhancing processes ensures improved efficiency within teams and increased profitability for the organization. With a strong analytical mindset, he effectively manages cross-functional projects and coordinates technology releases across different regions, while also gathering user feedback to guide product development. Sir, please share your thoughts with us.
So, very good evening. And I guess most of us know Yamaha as a bike company, right? But we have different products as well. And every day we are innovating, or we are trying to innovate and create from idea to impact. So Yamaha works on, like, we have a motorcycle as a division, marine, music, electrical instruments, even we have a autonomous helicopter as well, and we are trying to find some of the solution by utilizing the autonomous vehicles. Okay, so I just want to highlight over here the transformation journey of Yamaha Motor Solutions, the captive unit which I belong to, and how it scaled from a local development company to a global leader in innovation. So back in 2017, we have established a ETIL team, which is Emerging Technologies and Innovation. The purpose of this team was to look outside the periphery and what the technology is working on in the Indian ecosystem or outside the ecosystem. So some of the focus area that we have been working for the technology was AI, ML, blockchain, and so far. So first project that we have initiated was the smart factory, which is the digital, to solve the digital problem, digital transformation problem within the factory. That was the first localized project we have started with. And the main reason for picking up the localized part was because we used to sit there in the factory, and we have those design thinking workshops which we have conducted with some of the users there in the factory. Okay, and we have implemented some of the IoT solutions, as supply chain management solutions, and the digital portals there at the shop floor in the factory, wherein the workers can use the digitized dashboards to look into further details. As the time passed in 2018, there was a wave, AI wave, and then we started to thinking about the AI as a technology, and we started with one of the very small POC project for facial recognition, and this was recognized by the global teams, and we were able to implement this idea to the impact on the autonomous vehicle, wherein we showcase face recognition system as a ticket in Consumer Electronics Show 2019 in Las Vegas. That's the world biggest summit which happens. There we showcase our capabilities of face recognition and autonomous mobility as a technology, and we got a global attention from there. And that is how the turning point of creating those impactful projects started from India. And right now, we are working in some of the domains like autonomous mobility, autonomous vehicles, AI. So we have initiated AI Research Center in India, from where we are supporting some of the AI models, deep models, which are supporting for agriculture, medical device, imaging, those kind of. And now we are there, which when we are interacting with IIT and some of the academia institute to which we want to partner for the innovations and accelerator programs. Right now we are working on open innovations, in which we have three problem statements on autonomous mobility, fintech and agriculture, and we are supporting this. How we are doing it, or we have created a framework for creating idea to impact, is it we are creating a pulse tool, idea pool. So every department or from the different sources, we are pulling some of the ideas, we are placing this idea into idea pool, we are prioritizing those ideas, and next step is the stage 2 is to create a research for those idea pools. Once the research is being done, we are authenticating, okay, this idea is going to work. We are coming up with a MVP plan or a POC concept. Once the POC is developed, we are creating a validation step. After the validation, there is a step which talks about the acceptance from the stakeholders. So that is the step when the acceptance is received. It is handed over to a product development like teams, because like working on a POC and creating an idea to a product, that requires a different skill set. So this is now handed over to the teams which are working on to work on like the scaling of those products to product. Okay. So this is what we are following right now, and we have aspirational projects like when we are working. So we want to collaborate with some of the institutes. We want to create research papers. We want to throw our problem statements to the academias and startups so that they can work on it and we can co-create some of those use cases. Okay. Thank you for now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. You've actually stressed on the need as to how every organization should evolve, should keep adopting new technologies, and we are very, very excited to collaborate with you on future projects. So last but not the least, we have Mr. Ved Pandey, Head of Research and Development for the Higher Appliances. He leads the strategic innovation, technological advancement and growth of home appliances products. With a deep understanding of engineering principles and keen insights of market dynamics, he spearheads the development of cutting-edge appliances that blend performance, functionality, energy efficiency, and user-centric design. Under his leadership, R&D initiatives focus on delivering products that are not only meet evolving consumer needs, but also set new benchmarks for functionality, sustainability, innovation, and design excellence. Sir, please share your thoughts with us.
Hi everyone. I am from the appliance industry, so I would like to explain how appliance industry take the idea and convert into the impactful result for the society, for the country, and we can say for the globe also. In everyone's home, we can see we are using home appliances. All the appliances is a one kind of solution. It started with one idea. We are working in R&D, and I have seen here a lot of so many deep tech startups. So every day in R&D we are working like a deep tech startup. We are searching the ideas for the improvement, for the solution, what it is needed by the consumers. the idea how to convert into the impact, it requires a roadmap. The major part of that roadmap is innovation. It starts with the innovation. For innovation, it requires research, as Mr. Sharma has already explained. So, for research, we have to find out the real path, what it could be, which it can convert into the solution. Sometimes the available technology, it is being utilized for innovation. Sometimes it requires complete breakthrough, because every technology has some limitations. So to achieve the goal of innovation, to create an impact, we required complete breakthrough. Then we start searching like a deep tech startup, because everything what is available is not giving the right solution. So we can take one example, the energy improvement in the appliance industry. Earlier we were using the fixed speed compressors, which has some limitations of the energy saving. So later, something very innovative, the technology was changed into the inverter technology, which has been now completely standard of the refrigerator or air conditioners. So it's an integral part of now for saving the energy. And while developing all these innovation, or all these parts, it requires innovation. And while innovation, we have to go for the patent. We should not forget, because patent, it gives the sustainability for the innovator. We are also collaborating, as in higher appliances, we are collaborating with IIT. The major target, or you can say the requirement of appliance industry collaborating with the higher IIT is deep tech startup innovation kind of thinking. We are searching something which we cannot do right sitting in the R&D room. We have to go back to the, we have to go to back, like a basics. We have to learn, we have to implement in our product. So for the future, we have to meet the global standards, which is not possible through the regular R&D. So like a deep tech startup, we have to be more innovative in the appliance industry. So that's all from my side, and thanks for inviting me as a panel speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So you pointed out at that how even every small innovation requires a whole roadmap, and innovation is the way forward. So we have to continuously think new, evolve ourselves to be able to meet the global needs. With this, we come to the end of this panel. I think all of us have really learned a lot today. We've learned that how innovation at every step is important for every industry, be it home appliances, be it the pharma industry, automobiles, the telecommunication industry, and so and collaboration between these industries and academia is really the way forward, and it is very, very essential, and we really hope forward to collaborating with all of you in the futures to come. Thank you so much.